Good morning, grade 10s. Welcome to my absolutely fascinating class on sarcasm, where I'm sure we are all so excited to be here when we could really be doing other things like washing our hands 5,000 times. Morning, grade 10s, you will see from my tone that I was talking in a very sarcastic way. The topic of our new section is, you guessed it, sarcasm. So if you look at your perspective pack on page 82, that is page 82 Milner and page 82 Levine and page 82 for anyone else who doesn't realize that it's page 82. Okay, we look there and we see that sarcasm is a technique of humor that is often described as the lowest form of wit. Wit means humor and intelligence all rolled up into one. It can be very funny at times, but often at the expense of another individual's feelings. So you see from that definition, what I've been doing in this little introduction by using sarcasm in my tone and using sarcasm in my examples of the page is showing you that we use sarcasm all the time. But while it can be very funny, it is often intended to insult. What we do generally on a day-to-day basis is we use irony. And then we say, oh, I was just being sarcastic, or whatever the case is. If we're looking at the true definition of sarcasm, we will see that what we're doing when we say, oh, I was just being sarcastic, is not actually being sarcastic. Because the true definition of sarcasm is this. Sarcasm is an extreme form of irony, in which the opposite of what you mean is said, with the intention of hurting someone's feelings. So I'm very sorry, Milner and Levine and Kupovitz and whoever else never knows what page we're on, but it actually does get really, really irritating when you ask me 5,000 times. But what you are doing is contributing to my lesson on sarcasm, so that's a good thing. Well done. Okay, now the answering methodology. The technique of humor used is sarcasm. As the person or creature or whatever it is, Mrs. Klatskin, for example, who is being sarcastic, is being unnecessarily rude or aggressive by suggesting that, and then whatever the message of the text is. That is how you will be answering the questions on sarcasm. Okay, so what you need to understand, take out from this, is that sarcasm is extreme and the point of it is to insult. Okay, now have a look at these examples. Consider the responses given to the questions that follow and explain why they would be considered sarcastic. Question: did you miss your train? No, I just like chasing trains out of the station. Now, why would that be sarcastic? First of all, it's the opposite of what you expect because the person is not saying, yes, I did miss my train. Okay? So from that point of view, it can be seen to be ironic. Now, look at what they actually say. I just like chasing trains out of the station. Does anyone in their normal mind like to chase trains out of the station? No, they do not. So it's pretty obvious that they weren't standing there running around chasing trains for fun. Okay? They were running because they missed the train and they were rushing to try and get it. So their answer is the opposite of what you expect, and there's an implied insult in that because they're telling the person who asked, did you miss your train, that no, you fool. Well, I just am doing this for fun, which is not actually true, if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at this one. Have you been waiting long? No, the cobwebs are part of my outfit. So, what are cobwebs? Things that spiders create, and they're there usually for a long time. Okay? So the person's been waiting so long that they've got cobwebs. So by saying no, that's where the insult is. Okay? And then the cobwebs are part of my outfit. They're telling the person who's asked the question that, you fool, I have been waiting here for so long that it seems as if I'm wearing cobwebs and they just happen to be part of my normal clothes. Do you want the glass of water to drink? No, I want to practice my high diving act. So the person who's answering is implying, what else would I possibly be doing with this glass of water? I cannot do a high dive jump into the glass of water, literally. Okay, but they're insulting the person who asked because they are saying to them, you are being ridiculous by suggesting that I would want the glass of water for any other reason. Okay. Now, consider the following images or cartoons. Explain why each can be considered an effective example of sarcasm and use the answering methodology that you have been taught. So we're not going to look at every single one right now. I'm going to explain, I think, the first one, which is this. Okay? Page 83. So we have a husband and we have a wife. The husband is on the left and he looks very annoyed. You can see that from the way he is frowning, his facial expressions. He's got his hand holding on his head. He's not very happy. Next to him is the wife. She's got curlers in her hair. Okay, it must be early morning. She's holding a box of crispy cereal. Okay, and the husband says to her, cold cereal. Is there no end to your culinary wizardry? Okay, so culinary means cooking skills. So, those of you who have ever poured yourself a bowl of cold cereal will know that it doesn't take much to do that. You just pour the container into the bowl, you add the milk if that's what you want, or the fruit juice, or the whatever, and that's it. There's nothing that goes into it, right? So you're not a culinary wizard. Culinary means cooking skills. So by making a bowl of cereal, you aren't exactly the best cook and need to now go on MasterChef. So he is implying to her that she's really a pathetic cook because all she's landed up doing is giving him cereal. Okay? So if we were to answer this question, we have to use our answering methodology. Remember, what is that? The technique of humor used is sarcasm, as the person creature being sarcastic is being unnecessarily rude or aggressive by suggesting and then explain the message of the text. So, for this one, we can say, the technique of humor used is sarcasm. Okay? As the husband is being unnecessarily rude or aggressive by suggesting that his wife is a bad cook for offering him cold cereal. Okay? Cereal is easy to make and requires no skill. And now I'm going to add this in. So he is implying that she is a bad cook. Right. And that's really all you have to do. Generally, a sarcasm question will be maybe about 3 marks. I'm going to take you through the next one, and then I want you to practice 2, which I will select by myself. Tell you what they are, and then you have to do them. Okay, look at this one. Please be safe. Okay, this is typical of a sign that you would see at a zoo or some sort of park. Okay, do not stand, sit, climb, or lean on fences. If you fall, animals could eat you, and that might make them sick. Thank you. Okay, so what is the opposite of what you would expect here? Okay, generally, if you go to a zoo and there is a sign that says don't climb into the lion's cage, it's because the animals could eat you and then you will die. Okay, not that it will make the animals sick. The insult that is being implied here is that human beings have germs or are ill, and that will make the animals sick. So we're more concerned about the animals here than about human beings dying. Okay, so now if we're going to answer this kind of question, we have to use our answering methodology. We pick up our pen. So the question goes, identify the technique of humor and explain it, right, for, say, 3 marks. So I would go, the technique of humor is sarcasm. Okay, as the zoo is being unnecessarily rude or aggressive by suggesting that human beings carry viruses. Ha ha ha. Okay, don't put ha ha ha, but you know, it really is a ha 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 because we clearly do carry viruses. And will harm the animals if they fall into the cage. Okay, the zoo is more concerned about the animal life than human life, and is implying that humans are dirty and infected and dangerous. Okay. Note that just because you are dirty doesn't necessarily mean you have, no, let me say this the other way around. Just because you have a virus doesn't necessarily mean you're dirty, okay? Right. So that is what we would do. So your main thing to look for here is, okay, we look for, to determine, is this sarcastic? And you can write this in your books. Okay, you will say, where is the opposite of what I would expect? And then once you found that, because then you found the irony, is this an insult or an implied insult? And if the answer is yes, then the person is being sarcastic. Okay, now I want you as practice to do this one. Okay, he says, oh, you went on your friend's Facebook when he wasn't looking. You must be the best hacker ever. Okay, we're going to do that one. You're going to tell me why it's an insult to tell the person that you're the best hacker ever when you just went onto Facebook when you weren't looking, when your friend wasn't looking. Okay, and the next one that you're going to do, okay, I hate when people see me at the supermarket and they are like, hey, what you doing here? And I'm just like, you know, hunting elephants. Okay, there you need to explain why it's an insult to say to someone,